What's good? Welcome back to another episode of Where the Money and we on episode 22, and you know we keeping it rocking and rolling. So today we're going to talk about a little bit of the Bitcoin price action. Then we're going to get into general economics, with the Fed raising rates yesterday. And then we're going to get into why we should be more patient as far as the general economy and why we should be very happy that crypto is so boring right now, because it's not always going to be like that. So let's get right into it. Let me share my screen. Let me hide this. So let's refresh CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin sitting around $29,100, Ethereum sitting around $1,860, XRP sitting around 71 cents. Nothing's going real crazy. We had that crazy pump last week and then we came back down. Everything's staying steady. If you look at the price action, this is Bitcoin on the daily. We've been ranging roughly for over a month, and we're coming down a little bit. But, it's not about that. We got Bitcoin sitting at 29. So if we look at the fib and we look at where Bitcoin could possibly go in the short term, we got to stay in this golden range. That's what it's looking like to me. We could break down, but it's looking like, if I had to take a guess, if I was a guessing man or a trader or something, I would say we would bounce around in this golden range between the 236 and the 382. But if we take one more fib coming from the local low of 15,100 to where we at now, 29,000, we'll probably stay in this range and bounce around 27,800, probably stay around here for a little bit. But if we want to get into some momentum indicators to see a little bit more about where the price action could go in the meantime, pull up the MACD. Now, the MACD kind of confuses me based off of what it says on the daily. I don't like to pay attention to the daily too much. Let's look at the weekly. All right, so if we look at the weekly, if we look at the momentum's been up. And it kind of looks like it's time for the momentum to shift down. But if you zoom in closer on it, it dipped down a little bit, and it could peak back up. It could double peak. But, you can't just take one indicator and go based off of that. But, it kind of gives me a good idea of where we could possibly go. I think we could range up and I think we could just crab walk for a while, because there's no real big crazy news going on. We had the ETF news, and that news came and went. So there's no major narratives being driven right now. Plus, the economy is pretty rough right now. So Bitcoin is a direct reflection of that. But let's take a look at the monthly before we look into other things. It's looking like it could pick up. You know what I'm saying? The momentum has been down, and it's looking like it could pick back up. But if you pay attention to the second half of this last momentum around April 21, we did pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? We came down pretty bad. But let's look at the 200 EMA. Now, what I did notice about this is when you spend time under it, you really spend time under it. Of course, you can chop and come back up. But once you're under it, you're really under it. And once you punch through, there's a pretty solid push towards the top. So the last crazy push was as soon as we got over it in April 20, and then we started that bull run. So if we come to where we are right now, it's looking like we're getting pretty close, and we could break under it. And it's looking like one of those situations that if we break under it, it could be one of these where we spend some real time under it and go deep. But I feel like if we go under it and then we punch back up again, the next time we punch back up, or maybe the next couple times we punch back up, could be the beginning of that next bull run. But, it's not about the daily price action. These are just predictions. None of this is financial advice. This is just kind of fun stuff to see where we're going in crypto. But, it's not about that. It's about making your plan and executing it. It's not about what it does on the daily. The daily really doesn't matter unless you're a trader. And I ain't, so I don't care. But let's get into it. The Fed's raised rate yesterday, as we can see. And let's look at the last 25 years. So it's not about the Fed raising rates. It's about what happens when the Fed raises rates. Businesses borrow money, and these rates depend on how expensive that money is. So a lot of businesses that were able to run in this area when interest rates were around 2% may not necessarily be built, when it comes to businesses' margins, supplies, how they have to run things and the cost of everything. It may be different running it down here before 2015 to running it around here around 2018, 2019. So if some companies can't run right here, they definitely cannot operate up here. And that's why it takes so long, because these are lagging effects. So a lot of businesses who were good here, they're just starting to see what it's like to run their businesses up here. And if you don't believe me or you don't understand what I'm talking about, CEOs, billionaires, millionaires, they don't want interest rates to get higher. I mean, this is a CEO right here, and let's see if you can hear what he's talking about. And I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I just want to touch on the beginning and the end.
Back. It's been a long time.
It has. We continue our streak of Fed days with you. Your reaction to the decision when you were with me in June, you said, quote, I don't think the Fed is going to raise rates again, yet here we are.
Yeah, they raised again. And obviously the bond market was way ahead of this. I mean, the warp function, which gives you a probability.
So last time, the last couple meetings back, he predicted that they wouldn't raise rates anymore, probably because he has a vested interest in them not raising rates anymore because he's the CEO of Double Line Capital, whatever they do. And this whole video, he does not say anything important. So let's skip to the end. I just want to get to the main part.
Seems to be getting a little bit better.
What I hear you saying is that the Fed should declare victory, in a sense, out of this whole thing and go home. That they shouldn't hike anymore because they don't need to.
I don't think they do. That was kind of my point of view when we spoke last time.
So
it's time to switch to.
Clearly, him as a CEO, as a business investor, does not want the Fed to raise rates. But it looks like the Fed's on a hot streak and they could raise higher because we've had rates. I mean, they were in the 80s and the 90s, but we've had rates up to 20%. I'm not saying we're going there, but they've done it before. They're on a hot streak of raising and they could keep raising. But that's just Fed rates. So let's get into different parts of the economy. What happens during times where the Fed is raising rates? Businesses are struggling. Businesses have more expensive money to raise. We're going to see smaller banks get absorbed by bigger banks, smaller banks that were on the verge of collapse. And that's what happens during recessions. The rich get richer and the poor get poor. So smaller banks are going to get absorbed. Smaller companies are going to get absorbed. People who had a good amount of money before the recession are going to possibly come out with billions. And everyday people like myself who, work jobs and, aren't super rich, we have the opportunity to find good investments and come up during recessions. So that's why I take this so seriously. And I try to be patient and be slow because these are lagging effects. What we understand is commercial real estate is in trouble and real estate moves very slow. Businesses are not going to feel this rate increase just yet. It takes time, which is why I'm so patient when it comes to Bitcoin and other investments, because I believe we have time to execute our plans on what we want to do, because I don't think this will be fixed tomorrow or even next year. These things take time. So we could crab walk, drag down, or we could crab walk and blast up. We could blast out of here tomorrow, but based off of the information that I'm finding and I'm trying to relay to you, I don't think that's going to happen. So let's move on to the last part about, let's get back to cryptocurrency. Some of these projects are going to start having trouble. Star Atlas, which is a video game based on Solana, had massive layoffs, and they laid off roughly 73% of their development staff. So we need to see a lot of these coins get exposed. A lot of these coins don't do anything. Some of them are software companies, and some of them are software companies that are not very good. They don't produce any real products. Chainlink produces a real product. Ethereum, Solana, they have technologies that can be monetized. I don't know how Shiba Inu makes money. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how Dogecoin makes money. I see Elon tweeting about it, you know what I'm saying, because he's a mega troll. But a lot of these companies are not good companies. And we need, bad enough to say, we need some of these companies to die off, because in 5 years, this top 10 is not going to look like this. The top 100 is not going to look like this. A lot of these coins will die off. A lot of newcomers will come and show them how it's really done. And we need that to happen. So let's talk about how boring crypto is right now. So I went to Google Trends and I looked up how many people are looking up Bitcoin right now. I'm pretty sure you don't hear people in the barbershop talking about it right now. I'm pretty sure, I mean, the news is talking about it because there's a lot of regulation talk going on. But if you're not looking intentionally for crypto information, you're not going to find it. It's not going to pop up. I mean, we're at what Google's give Bitcoin a 14 score, which over the past couple of years is pretty low. So we really need to appreciate Bitcoin being this boring and crypto being this boring, because this is when you get to think and formulate your plan. Because when things get crazy, it's going to be mania. And when I say mania, I mean, what's going to happen? Bitcoin and these other cryptocurrencies prices are going to skyrocket on a public level. Major mainstream institutions will be reporting on it. the opportunities in the industries around cryptocurrency, as in Bitcoin miners and traditional stocks and companies who have blockchain sectors to their company, they're going to skyrocket. And, you know, cryptocurrency YouTube is going to get more ridiculous than it already is. And there's going to be a lot of room to make money, and there's going to be a lot of room to lose money, because when it gets popping for real, the scam artists are going to pop out. What is it called? Snake oil salesmen, they're going to pop out. It's going to be people trying to socially engineer other people into giving them their crypto, and you really need to watch out and be patient. But I'm going to dive further into that on the next video. But there is not too much going on in crypto. I just wanted to touch bases with you guys real quick and show you that we have time to be patient. The Fed is still raising rates. They still have to pause, and they still have to cut. So we got a long way to go. Commercial real estate is in trouble, but real estate moves extremely slow. I know in cryptocurrency, we're very spoiled because things move so fast, but in real life, stocks, real estate, investments, becoming wealthy, learning what you have to learn takes a long time, and people don't want to hear that, but it is what it is. And maybe we're getting into the point where instead of 4-year cycles in cryptocurrency, we have longer cycles and longer bear markets, which is okay, because that, look, investments in investment sectors, they have to grow and mature. Mature investors are going to come in, mature institutional money is going to come in, and we got to respect it. And we have the opportunity at this point to be veterans in a very, very young asset. So with that being said, man, I just want everybody to stay focused, stay locked in, and stay calm, because now you get to plan before everything gets crazy, because greed will strike. When Bitcoin, if Bitcoin ever touches 100,000, your mind is not going to think how you're thinking when it's at 29,000. So with that being said, man, I just want to holler at y'all. We're going to keep it rocking and rolling, and I'm going to talk to y'all later.